Alright, hello everyone. Just about to get started with the next match of the Apex playoffs. We're now in the top 8. And I've finally decided we're going to watch the Scl versus Moondoggy match. It was between Moondoggy and Newbie because they're both main quarters. So... those are the people we shall follow. Just gonna get me chat set up real quick. So that I can see all of you lovely people and your lovely typings. A very important part of a good stream like this. No bone-gnawing dog in the studio with me today, so that should not pose a problem. Alright, we have about 2 minutes, so let's go ahead and uncover the screen and take a quick look at the matchups here. Not as many matchups to cover, so I've been starting later and later, closer to the matches, obviously, as we cut the number of competitors in half each time. This time on the left bracket, we've got one of the 7th Heaven competitors, Uppa, versus Newbie, who we watched last week. Newbie typically likes to play a rush box, a single target rush box, although he has updated his gameplay style a little bit for this playoffs. And Uppa from a very successful Langrisser Gate guild, who have been focused on Apex Arena quite a bit, especially this season, although they did have a few members who made it fairly deep into the playoffs last season as well. Also on that bracket, we have another member of 7th Heaven, Nice, who will be facing off against the little tank mouse that we watched yesterday in action, defeating Cecil H. So, a pretty versatile player. That'll be interesting to see who comes out there. As you can see, the betting is very even on both of these matches. Literally even in the top match, very close in the bottom match. On the right side of the bracket, we have Moondoggy versus Scl, both fairly recognizable names. Moondoggy has been around on main cord for many, many seasons, and Scl, a very consistent top playoff performer and a top tournament performer. He's been in many Summit der Langrisser tournaments and always done very well. The final match we have is Auto Run, a perennial champion, the winner of the last 2 seasons in the Apex playoffs, versus Cuck, who is a newer account, a Langrisser Gate account, but he has been doing very well in Apex Arena, so he's hoping that he can present a kind of underdog threat against Auto Run, unseat the champ, and put himself in a good position to go even further in this playoffs. About 2,500 people think that's not going to happen. A lot of people vote on Auto Run just because they see it as a safe investment, so they get a little bit of cash infusion back when, you know, he gets his what they perceive to be a guaranteed win. So the matches are just getting started right now, and it looks like we have buttons to click for everyone, but so far these guys are the only ones who are actually in battle, so every other match still waiting for competitors to click in. That's fine with us because we know the match that we want to watch, and it's going to be Scl versus Moondoggy to start. Depending on how this game goes, we may have time to check in on one of the other matches, but we'll just get started spectating. Waiting for players. And it looks like the players have shown up. Important to note that Moondoggy's account here, Moondoggy has been posting on main cord today. He is on another continent, building houses. So his account is going to be played by Saint-Jacques again today. Saint-Jacques, the brother of the new sensation Biomo, who recently purchased the Luxid account near the end of the season, and we're looking to see great things from him starting next season. And Saint-Jacques has been making a name for himself as he has defeated 2 very strong opponents in the last couple of rounds. He defeated Q to advance into the top 16, and then he defeated Yi Chao to advance to this match against SCL. So very strong track record already on Saint-Jacques in these playoffs. Alright, so in a few seconds we will get the intel on who's player 1, what the map is going to be, and then we can start taking a closer look at these boxes. Although by this point in the playoffs, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by anything particularly. So we're on the Hidden Gorge, fairly neutral map, fairly McLean-friendly, fairly Lost Him friendly. Nothing too shocking there. Moondoggy as player 1 has his Sword of Light and Shadow banned right away. Both players' boxes looking fairly similar. Moondoggy does have the Cherie. Absol with the Prime subscription. Thank you, brother. Good to have you back on the stream. Moondoggy also running Helena here, so that's a little bit of a difference from, you know, the cookie cutter meta. It's possible that Saint-Jacques has... it's a character that he would be familiar with. Because she's not one of the newer characters. So, possible he has some idea of a way to use her against SCL. SCL and Yi Chao both play a pretty standard game, adhering pretty closely to the meta. So, that, on one hand, it can give you a really strong core base of play. Like, SCL definitely has the fundamentals down. He's going to be difficult to play against no matter what type of box you bring against him. On the other hand, it does make it a little bit easier for your opponent to be prepared with a game plan against you, because they know pretty much what you're going to be doing. So banning out Lightbringer, Saint-Jacques does not want SCL to have a tank as player 2 here, but it does open up the Sword of Light and Shadow and the Gintoki picks. So very strong DPS here on this side already, but Moondoggy for his part is going to get a McLean, so that could serve to slow down the attack a little bit. Getting rid of that Sissy White, definitely to make sure that Gintoki does not have the double act again play at some point in the game. And picking up a Lucretia. Lucretia, a very strong pair with McLean. The Golem can use his act again, not his act again, his cooldown speed up to help keep McLean's tiles active on the board. Very good use of, it's almost McLean's Golem more so than Lucretia's Golem. So, Lucretia also obviously strong, being able to hide behind the water tiles against a more of a slowed down opponent and fire from long range. So SCL is going to want to pick something up that mitigates that. IBC with her mobility boost definitely helps. Important to remember that neither side is going to be playing with a tank, not even a little fake Sissy White tank. So being able to blast at long distance with these long-range mages like Lucretia or Annie, for example, definitely could provide something of an advantage that these players are going to be looking for. So yeah, Kyra, another one of those good long-distance mages who has the added benefit of being able to teleport back. Moondoggy banning her out as well. So yeah, Vermilion, it looks like the two main differences are that SCL has the Rosen Seal and the Kyra, whereas Moondoggy has Helena and Cherie. The Helena ban there, not really a huge loss for Moondoggy. She was a bit of a double-edged sword because her tiles would erase some of the McLean tiles. Or the McLean tiles would erase some of the Helena tiles, so a little bit of counter synergy there. Moondoggy, I don't think going to be too sad to see her banned out for this 5th pick. We are going to get to see Gin versus Gin, Matthew versus Matthew, so both protagonist buffs. SCL's side benefiting from it a little bit more heavily because Z2 is also a protagonist. We're also getting Lucretia versus Lucretia, so the real difference in this match is going to be the McLean and the Z2, and the Epsilon and the IBC. Those are the two main differences. So players adjusting their skills, adjusting their soldiers, adjusting their positioning. Personally, I'd say I rate these teams pretty evenly. I think Moondoggy does have one slight advantage from, McLean and Lucretia pair up, as well as being player 1. SCL also has the advantage of having Z2 on the board. She's not as hampered by the tiles because she can teleport, especially if there's a kill behind enemy lines. She basically ignores all those tiles and just goes immediately where she wants to go. So they do kind of counterbalance each other in that front. Pete just keeping us up to date on his household chores in the chat. Ease. Not sure what else you'd expect from Old Kong. There will be some Eastern Maritime pronunciation here every once in a while, but that's just the name of that letter. I suppose that's an opportune time to ask whether your name is pronounced Ease or YZ. Do you spell out your letters, or is it a word? Kind of like that long-forgotten game, the long-forgotten gacha that they tried to launch and was immediately super boring, the East mobile game. Alright, I suppose we should take a look at what we've got deployed here, so that Pete doesn't miss too much when he returns from folding. We do have accelerated aid on this Epsilon. We have Air Slash on this Matthew, so no double AoE, no protagonist buff. And we do have AoE and mass attack on this Lucretia, so only one single target from her. SCL bringing Wizards on his Lucretia, and he's got also an AoE and a mass attack. We do have the AoE on the Zerida, Unicorns on IBC, and he is bringing the protagonist buff. As I mentioned, he does benefit from it a little bit more. He's got 3 characters here who benefit from that buff. How we doing? We are just getting started. You haven't missed anything. We are on turn 1 of game 1. Just loaded in from Pick Ban, and Moondoggy's side has just used up about 50 seconds counting tiles and planning out the first turn. Not a bad start to get some water down. To begin with, just limits SCL's options a little bit. But SCL has no illusions about being able to get things started on turn 1 here anyway. This is going to be a couple turns of jockeying for positioning, looking for openings. Cucumber, welcome to the stream. You made it just in time. You have not even missed a single attack yet. So this is a good time to go to the chat and ask, what do you think of the chances for Moondoggy and SCL in this match? Did you get your voting in today? Do you have a favorite in this race? Who do you think's going to win after ban pick at least? SCL making a savvy little move there. Keep Zerida protected until later. It doesn't matter how far back she hides at the start of the match. When the time comes for her to join the fray, she's going to be able to jump in. Similarly, Epsilon up here just getting himself started. Little bit of an accelerated aid boost on this Matthew. Pretty sure with accelerated aid, Matt can reach. I'm not sure exactly how far, but he should be able to reach and jump. Maybe not necessarily right to there, but another one of the reasons for getting Zerida out of the central clump. Because if Moondoggy does opt to make this Matthew jump right away, oh, here I've been saying it's an accelerated aid breeze, but I think you're right. It's definitely a Tenyo breeze. So you got a Tenyo off that as well. Zerida can be Scarida. Epsilon, well, I mean, Moondoggy has a lot of DPS who can combo her down given the opportunity, so it's going to really be up to SCL not to give Moondoggy the chance to take multiple of her lives away in one shot. That's kind of the juggling act with Z2, is making sure that you always give yourself an opening to pick up some new revive balls. Yeah, at least on the front of these characters being a pain to kill, that's one of the things that's exciting about watching a game where it's pretty much 5 DPS versus 5 DPS. Even though units are a pain to kill, you have a lot of weapons, a lot of tools to do the killing. And it really becomes very strategic about turn order and turn priority, that kind of thing. Something that both of these players are going to be thinking quite carefully about. And as you can see, we're on turn 1 here, and both players already digging fairly deeply into that backup time. I don't think they'll let themselves get, you know, dangerously close to giant flashing numbers quite yet. This is not exactly the kind of match where you can use all your backup time on turn 1, figuring out the strat, and then just execute for the rest of the turns. The next few turns are going to look just as wrangly as this one. Moondoggy's still considering what to do with this Matthew and when. But SCL not backing down from this central formation. Getting that IBC boost on Vance here, although he has no soldiers, so one thing he doesn't benefit from. Yeah, Taffertier, I wouldn't worry too much about the game being saturated with tankless matches for too much longer, to be honest. Josh reporting in that Up Appa smoked Newbie Game 1. Game 1 already over there, and we have not even had any engagement on this side yet. I maybe should have started with Newbie's game, anticipating that it would be over fast. Alright, here we're going to go in with Matthew. Moondoggy attempting to select his targets carefully. Getting buff block on Gintoki is pretty nice. Ozma, it does prevent Gintoki from getting stacks. I mean, he's already committed to making this Matthew move, so... Alright, that was just a few extra seconds of deciding exactly where he wanted the target to go. Nice big splash on the middle of this formation. Now remember, no healer on SCL's side. So, going to be relying on the self-healing units to kind of get themselves back into shape. And if he doesn't have follow-up on this Matthew, then Moondoggy also has turn priority to make that splash again next turn, thanks to the time travel mechanic in his talent. SCL figuring out whether that Matthew is even killable right now. Gintoki can't reach. No, so, I mean, his Matthew alone is not going to be able to do anything. What he wanted was to get that faction buff up this turn. Alright, he's gonna go for the splash on the enemy Matthew anyway. To weaken him up, freshen him up a little bit for what's coming next turn. Yes, it is Jero, exactly. And the scary thing about this being a preview of the Player 1 OP era is that Moondoggy's team doesn't even really have any of the units that 1-2 combo right out of the gate like that. I mean, you have Matthew, now add Polyol to that. Okay, so splashing Matthew with 2 AoEs, pushing him back a little bit. Strike is gone, so he's not able to get the extra mobility to jump into the team. But if Moon wants to throw him away, he can still move and jump and hit enough of these units to splash damage on them to be annoying, and that will essentially have been Matthew's job. I would not be surprised to see that happen right at the start of this turn. Opting to save the Matthew instead. Live to fight another day, okay. I guess no reason to throw the Matthew away if you don't have to. Emerald Dragon in the chat, subbing at tier 1, 5-month subscription. You have been around for a while, Greenwinkle. Thanks for the sub again. Late season Apex brings out the generous subscribers. That's 2 so far in this stream. I think Greenwinkle just wanted to overwrite Absol's latest subscriber there on my overlay. He had the title. Absol briefly took it. He wanted to see that Emerald Dragon name back up there in lights. That's fair. But now you've opened yourself up to getting sub-sniped. Hopefully the stream is just lagging for me and not everyone else. Do see a little bit of delay on my stream there. It's probably just because I'm watching this and streaming it, so... Alright, McLean doing his thing, throwing down some more tiles. Yet again, nothing too surprising here. He's going to try to control the pace a little bit. That also has the side benefit of allowing him to wear the debuffs off this Matthew, you know. Moon's side is in no real rush to engage. He's controlling the middle of the map with these tiles. He's also already put damage pressure on SCL's units, although Gintoki's going to be able to heal that back, no problem. I guess Lucretia and the Golem can kind of heal themselves back a little bit as well. Alright, we're on the opening moves of turn 2, and backup time almost all gone for both players. Not all gone, but more than half gone. Thank you for the follow, Dregan. Thanks also for the follow, Avalanche. I didn't quite catch you earlier, but I did see your name there, so thank you for the follow. Seal Guardians going out all round. Alright, SCL looking to make a potential play with this Lucretia? Getting into position. Alright, that is enough to finish off the Matthew. SCL does not want to deal with another one of those big splashes. Lucretia not coming back from there, though. Vance too far away for a revive. He's already used his action, so he can't summon her back. But the only way for Moondoggy to really reach is to commit his Gintoki. Which he can do. He could also use his own Lucretia. I think the thing that's probably a little more troublesome for Moon right now is this right here. This right here. What that is, my friends, is an opening, a doorway, a gate, a portal for Z2 to jump in whenever she wants. Whenever she wants. She has the opportunity. So it gives SCL a little bit more combo freedom when the time comes. If he wants a 1-2 punch, that's there waiting for Zerida. But we'll see. We'll see if this is bait, too. Does SCL want Moondoggy to overcommit his Gintoki? He's going to go with the Lucretia. I think it is a little bit of a safer pick. Should be an easy kill. So that does allow Moondoggy to leave his Lucretia within range of the Golem for that revive. So it's basically a trade. SCL's Lucretia for Moondoggy's Matthew. SCL really not hurting for other single target DPS. It does take one of his AoEs off the table. So we'll remember he had, I believe he had Heaven's Sanction on his. And he was bringing that probably primarily, well, really to splash damage on the whole team if given the chance. Primarily to break this shield. But he does have other AoEs up his sleeve. He's got Matthew's Splash. He's got Gintoki's Push. He did bring an AoE on her. She has her kind of incidental AoE as well. So it's not like Epsilon can really count on hiding behind that shield. Long way of saying I don't think SCL is necessarily hurting too bad from losing the Lucretia. Yeah, unfortunately, like, the last 2 days I've noticed my net has been hurting a little bit, and I'm not 100% sure what the issue is. It might just be a bunch of people, like, streaming the Super Bowl right now, too, in my area. I don't know if that's a thing. My ISP is kinda crap, so that seems like the kind of thing that would negatively impact them. Cuck kills Otto's Lucretia. Well, 1 unit down on Otto's side feels like an accomplishment. Alright, some water just starting to come down. Don't know if that's necessarily going to give SCL an opening, but Saint Jacques has to watch out for his backup time. Down to 30 seconds of backup time already, and you don't want to necessarily pressure yourself with those giant numbers flashing in your face. I don't know, Cucumber. I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of Zoomers who don't have TV are watching the Super Bowl on the internet, through internet means. Or do they have, does the NFL have, like, big old-fashioned TV deals where, you know, it's not also offered through TV providers' internet options? I don't know. Up here we can watch pretty much anything from our cable via the internet, so... How do I use the Apex tickets I got in the mail? Ray, you have to use those before the games start, so those are for betting. If you go and look at the matches interface in Apex Arena before the games are actually on, you can choose one of the competitors to support with your tickets. Really all it does is if they win, you get gold. So next week, yeah, you missed it today, but next Saturday will be a good opportunity for you to dump those on someone. I mean, I watch a lot of NHL games. I watch a lot of hockey on my phone, so that's just the first thing that leapt to mind for me. I don't know why my internet would be worse today of all other days. Might just be people doing internet gambling on the Super Bowl. Alright, so SCL definitely playing patiently, biding his time, waiting for the right opportunity to jump in here. The rest of Moondoggy's team is in fine condition. He doesn't want to open himself up to getting comboed, though. So he's going to move Gintoki back to safety. He's going to keep him in reserve for later. Doesn't really need him on the front lines right now. Hey, I'm a Canadian. It would be very disingenuous of me not to be interested in hockey. There are some un-Canadian things that I do, but being a hockey fan is not one of them. Who else voted for Cuck in hopes of auto-run falls down the steps or something, Rice Crew? I think about 350 people had the same idea. You know, in the once in a blue moon that kind of underdog betting pays off, it pays off big, but I hate to say it, I don't think Cuck is the one to make it happen. Alright, auto-run currently up 1-0 on Cuck in their game, and last we heard, Up was beating Newbie 1-0 as well. So a lot of games finishing, this game just getting started. Moondoggy is unfortunately going to be into the terror zone with his backup time. Okay, SCL dropping the Golem to reactivate his Gintoki. So he was waiting for that. That was one of the reasons he kept that Golem around. Gintoki getting ready to jump in here now. It looks like it's going to be on McLean. McLean, his only really viable target. It should be an easy kill. That is the first life off McLean. He does also still have Zerida in his back pocket, so she gets to do something now. The question is she going to get in behind here and do some real damage to one of these valuable fresh DPS? So SCL waiting for that moment to launch the 1-2 punch. He didn't have Sissy, but he did have another expendable unit to use. And the opportunity to have Gintoki and Zerida go back-to-back, unanswered by a Moondoggy action, too great to pass up. SCL weighing his options now, trying to decide who he's going to take. Comments people were making earlier. Oh, he's not going to take that chance quite yet. Possibly didn't see a good opening he liked. The comments people made earlier about all of these units being really annoying to kill, really kind of dictating that decision for SCL, I think. Didn't really think that finishing off this last super hurt McLean life was going to be worth putting his Zerida in harm's way. Lucretia also still has her revive, Epsilon shielded, Gintoki looking nice and buffed up back here. If you run out of backup time, you don't just lose, because you have your 15 seconds each turn as well. So you start with 15 seconds, and once those 15 seconds are gone, then you start using your backup time. So what happens is, Moondoggy's looking at this, essentially this timer that we're looking at, and then once that's gone, he gets huge numbers flashing in his face. And if he fails to take action before his timer actually ends, yeah, it just, the auto battle AI makes a choice for him. And the auto battle AI, if anyone has had extensive experience with it, you know they seldom make the most responsible decisions. So Nice is also up 1 game to nothing against the little tank mouse. Gold Magistrate, you joke about that, but there have been people in main chord who, just for fun, will have auto battle Apex fights. Moondoggy's actually one of the people who is a big proponent of auto battle Apex. So I've seen scrims between Moondoggy and Lonebird who will just, you know, load in and have an entire auto battle fight against each other, including Pick and Ban. Alright, Lord Thy God with some more recon from the Up Appa newbie match. It looks like Up Appa is ahead in that match. So possible 2-0 over there. Alright, SCL's Matthew jumping in, taking this opportunity to just put some splash damage on the McLean, basically. If this Gintoki can reach, he can kill SCL's Gintoki. Not gonna bother with that yet. Oh, he just AoE's IBC right off the map. That's a fair choice too. Matthew's already out of the action anyway. So that's gonna reactivate SCL's Gintoki though. He does have his 3C, so that gives him the option of trying to take out that Gintoki. Does not quite go down. Yeah, Zerida can finish him though. Wonder if Zerida's play is to try for a greedy AoE here. Yeah, she tries the greedy AoE, she doesn't secure the kill. But everyone on Moondoggy's side is looking hurt AF right now, so Moondoggy needs to start cleaning up some of these units before his own units go down. First up, Lucretia on Gintoki does not actually... Oh, does barely not actually able to finish him. Firebrand's leaving him at 92 hit points. Now's the time for SCL to make a move with this Gintoki if he wants to get any action out of him for the rest of the game. Because he's going down. So the question is, what can he bring with him? Alright, sugar intake. Man, he gets as big a boost out of that sugar intake as I do out of Doritos. And now he's on a forest and he's almost back at full health. What a ridiculous unit. Just full Sansea mercenaries. Ray, is Gintoki ever coming back? Other than that comeback that we just witnessed right there. Collabs do tend to come back, but it's not really on a predictable set schedule. They typically like to go through like new collabs and then go back through the old collabs that have already run in order when they do bring them back. So if Gintoki does come back, I wouldn't expect it to be for a couple years. Yeah, exactly, Cucumber. Balanced unit. The problem is we're swimming in kind of a pool of similarly balanced units here, with Z2 being another one of them. Yeah, I mean, it's theoretically a license thing as well, Muslera, because they do have to make sure they secure the rights each time they run the collab in the game. That said, we have not yet run into a situation where any of the collabs have been denied a rerun. So far, they've rerun every collab from the start of the game in order. They're up to Trails of Cold Steel should be the next one if we do get another collab rerun. And the relationship with the Trails team has been good, so I don't expect them not to see that. Alright, Matthew getting a faction buff off in the fog for one last action before reactivating this Gintoki here. So it is really going to be the Gintoki versus Zerida, or Gintoki and Zerida versus the World Show. Yeah, and with your units like McLean and Epsilon already launching their big hits and not able to do anything about this Gintoki, I don't think... I mean, Moon has a really big hill to climb now. One thing to remember, though, is both of these Zerida balls are going to be disappearing next turn. The fog is going to eat those, so that does give her a little bit less potential to live forever, but it looks like McLean is going to be creating a new Zerida ball in the middle of the map here. Yeah, and it's just going to be Epsilon versus 2 Zerida lives and a Gintoki. Even if he comes out and kills this Gintoki, which he can. He has his 3C back. Oh, this is going to be a real brawl. He has to kill this Zerida twice. And remember, she can pick up one of her Zerida balls on her action. So she could risk getting counter-killed and just picking up a Zerida ball. Alright, she just goes for it, gets the kill. It's a double kill, but she has her revive. And SCL wins by the skin of a single Zerida revive. Great game. Alright, here we are going into game 2. Moondoggy gets to choose whether he wants to be player 1 or player 2. He picks player 1. We're on Plains of Strife, another relatively neutral map. Ray, I would say player 1 does have a slight advantage, currently. In the coming season, player 1's advantage gets a bit bigger, as there are more and more units who can reach on turn 1, so it gives you priority for having rush units as player 1, tankier units as player 2. Thank you, Soda. Always appreciate some appreciation. Speaking of appreciation, thanks again to Absol and Emerald Dragon for throwing down for new subscriptions to the Old Kong Twitch channel. And if anyone wants to be a real stinker, you know, you could subscribe and support Old Kong and knock Emerald Dragon off the latest subscriber board, which is really the only purpose he had for subscribing to me today. I know he's there in the chat. He's waiting and watching. I'm sure he's going to be thrilled for me using him as my own advertising like that. Up Appa has defeated Newbie 2-0. Interesting, so we could have watched that entire game and then come over to catch Moondoggy and SCL starting with Game 2. But I will say, that first game was definitely worth watching. That was a pretty exciting game, so I don't regret our choices here today. Okay, both players are still screwing around with their backup boxes. Okay, it looks like Moondoggy is going to go for a little bit of that player one advantage type game that we were talking about. He's bringing up 4 rush units. Tiny Jess can teleport. Julian and Clotaire, both turn 1 reachable AoEs. Jugler, this is almost certainly going to be a cavalry Jugler who can charge in and splash to support an opening AoE rush. Matthew, of course, in there to do that as well. Watham as well. So there are a lot of things SCL has to think about now. He's going to be getting AoE'd. It's just a question of who it's going to be from. And Moondoggy going all in on this strategy, banning the Rosen Seal first. He doesn't want any of that reactive healing available. But he's not first picking one of his rush units. He's first picking one of his OP strength units. Gintoki, definitely a strong carry, as we saw in the previous game. Moon has enough of those AoEers that he's going to be able to get at least a couple of them after this, so he wanted to secure his stronger pick first. Have I finished Voyage? I have not finished Voyage. I think I'm just on map 5 on both my accounts. Voyage, I really like Voyage for Freekong because you're not really limited by the strength of his account. Taffer, maybe refresh the stream because my monitor has Pick and Ban underway. So, and I'm watching the stream, I mean. Obviously, on my source itself, Pick and Ban's underway, but my stream shows Pick and Ban underway as well. Yeah, we might have to deal with some slight laggy issues, but fortunately it looks like the stream is not frozen yet anyway. Moondoggy does get that Clotaire out, so he is going to be able to reach on turn 1 if he wants. But yeah, back to Endless Voyage. No, I like playing Endless Voyage with Freekong because he's not super limited by the strength or weaknesses of the box. The only thing I have to think about on Freekong is that I can only use star syncs on freebie characters, because most of the types of characters that you randomly get in that mode are going to be SSR characters that Freekong does not have access to. So I risk making it to the last level with characters who aren't fully starred up. So I have to carefully select some units if I'm given the opportunity to take an SR unit or freebie unit that Freekong has. Pretty good for star sync economy. But it's nice because it's a pretty easy source of controllers for Freekong. But I usually don't rush Voyage right away. I wait, not to the last minute hopefully, but I haven't really had the appetite to do it so far. I've been actually busy casting Apex this weekend, and then potentially some Super Bowl later. So Moondoggy is going to be getting Jugler to follow up on this Clotaire. SCL does pick up a McLean to possibly slow down this rush, and that's the interesting thing about this Jugler being cavalry. Normally an aquatic Jugler would be able to ignore those aqua tiles, but as a cav he won't be able to do that. Pete, that I'm not sure of. Jiroxis might know. I've never really used a lot of rerolls in Voyage, so not sure how many you get, actually. Yeah, SCL having McLean here is definitely going to help him kind of regain some control of pace in this match. And he does ban out the Matthew as well, so Lucretia's the only other kind of AoE combo threat here. Moon may veer away from that, although Lucretia's really strong here still. But SCL does have a super solid team, getting the Zerida and Gintoki combo again. also getting McLean. So yeah, we are going to see Lucretia come out. That makes total sense. And SCL getting out Annie. Another strong single-target mage who should be able to one-shot most of the things in this box. Remember, Annie can bring Fireball, which is great anti-Gintoki tech. Alright, so both players will be adjusting their skills, their troops, and their positioning here. Moon going to be frontlining some of these units, hoping to be able to rush in. The thing about this, too, about the McLean on player 2, it's kind of going to make Moon second-guess this opening rush strategy, because if he does go in with Clotaire on his first move, and then a bunch of water gets thrown up, which means his follow-up will get shut down, it risks him kind of misfiring the big AoE combo that he's hoping to benefit from. So we'll see if he gets cold feet. Either way, though, he will definitely have the opportunity to go in with at least one of those units before McLean has a chance to drop water. So, we'll see. It's gonna totally come down to what Saint-Jacques decides to do for his opening. SCL's team seems like a really tough team to get through without follow-up, though. Alright, let's take a look at what we got. Vance right on the front line. He's not going to be jumping into any rush on turn 1 at least. So we do have a little AoE setup for Lucretia here. Accelerated aid on the Epsilon, but if he does that turn 1, it gives SCL the chance to put water tiles down before Moondoggy even jumps. So that may be a snag in his plan if he's going to try to put accelerated aid on the Clotaire, for example. SCL playing back, of course, no big surprise there. He's got the Fireball on Annie as expected. He's also got her offensive-minded troops on. And he's got accelerated aid on Epsilon, and he's brought AoE on Zerida again. Alright, this is the moment of the match. We're going to see what Moondoggy's opening is. Alright, we're seeing multiple reports in the chat now that Autorun has successfully defeated Cuck 2-0. So 2,600 people looking for a pretty moderate payday. Alright, Moondoggy is not going to waste any time with accelerated aid. He is going to jump in right away with this Clotaire. What's he going to be able to hit? Alright, he hits the Gin, he hits the Z2, he hits the Epsilon, some pretty important units to smoke. And now it's SCL's turn to see if he's going to be able to shut down any of that follow-up. Is he worried about shutting down a Jug jump right now? Or is he just going to try to kill this Clotaire? How did 3 people from Lushyrus Gate make it this far? Well, remember, Lushyrus Gate is like over 2 years old now. So these people have had like 4 seasons, at least, of practice. There are definitely some good Apex players, and some people who maybe have access to pilots on Lushyrus Gate, so I wouldn't be too surprised. A couple of years is definitely long enough to have time to build up strong units. And the most important units in this season are the newer units, so as long as you're Wayland, you can build up a really strong Apex box. The bigger question would really just be experience. But, no, those players have done well. It's really good to see 7th Heaven and some of the players in Meow's guild, Meow's ult, Kitten Overlord, and those guys. Takesh has been a strong Apex player as well for the past few seasons. They're all Lushiris Gate players. Now remember, this is kind of a similar situation that SCL was in Game 1, where Moondoggy got the jump on him with a big opening AoE splash, and SCL was able to play patiently, play good positional Apex, and come back with a clutch win from his strong units. I mean, we know by now that it's not just Lushiris Gate players who use pilots. Nothing too surprising about that. We're watching at least one pilot right now, probably a backseat as well on SCL's side. Okay, so there, the water goes down now. That's going to slow down this Jugler. And now SCL basically just has to try to stay in good enough shape to be able to pick Moondoggy's team apart. So that's the other thing about going all in on this kind of AoE combo style is, remember in Game 1, both players had 5 really strong DPS. It was 5 strong DPS against 5 strong DPS. In this game, because Moon has attempted to go for a more AoE jump style, you've got a Clotaire who can't really do too much right now. You've got a Jugler who kind of is a one-trick pony and he'll be relatively easy to kill. So if the game goes long, just speaking in terms of pure carry characters, SCL does have the advantage there. He just needs to be able to keep these Gintoki and Z2 healthy long enough to make an impact. So this should be the Clotaire. Portaling Gin back to safety. Relative safety? That helps the Epsilon as well a little bit. Okay, how you looking, Gintoki? Yeah, you're looking decent. Pull forward with this Lucretia potentially threatening to him down here. Ozma, you didn't miss too much on the second match. Basically, Moondoggy charged in with Clotaire first, splashed a few of SCL's units. SCL has, in turn, taken the Clotaire's life with this Gintoki and laid down some water. And that is basically where we are. Yeah, Trisket, when I first started this game on day 1, banter was full of pretty hard to stomach racist stuff, and I turned it off, and I haven't turned it back on since then. I'm kind of responsible for the stuff that appears on my stream, and if I'm streaming for people, I don't like to have the risk of garbage like that appearing on my screen. So, I mean, sometimes for the lulls, it's funny to turn it on, just see what kind of crap people are saying. It's usually just shit talk, but for the most part, while streaming, I have it off. So Moondoggy, undeterred by the water, he decides to unleash his second shot. It's enough to put a little bit more splash damage on these guys, which is valuable given the fact that SCL doesn't have a real healer. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what his additional follow-up is and whether this Jugler is just dead here. Oh, Zerida wasting no time. Even though she's going to be taking damage here. She did not have a revive there. I don't know if he was, if SCL was expecting to be able to kill that Jugler and not get counter-killed. And, you know, pick up one of the Zeraballs. But no revive means that's just a straight Zerida for Jugler trade, and that's a great trade for Moondoggy. That takes away one of SCL's really strong late-game comboable units. For a unit, like I said, Jugler, whose job is basically already done. So, yeah, Clotaire disabled the revive, but do we think that SCL forgot that? I don't know, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that SCL would forget about. I heard Applesauce barking upstairs, maybe she was trying to warn him. Don't worry, Applesauce, they can't hear you. You can hear them, but they can't hear you. Yeah, maybe not prepared for Thorns. I even without Thorns, I would have been fairly cautious about an injured Zerida attacking into a giant unit like that, just for the fact that I don't know if my Zerida would have gotten the kill. So that puts Moondoggy slightly ahead in this match. I mean, I guess he has lost 2 units for SCL's 1, which isn't really slightly ahead. Just that particular trade was slightly ahead. The good news is, if Moondoggy does manage to hang on and win this, that gives us a little bit more time together, and a little bit more time for you all to knock Emerald Dragon off that latest subscriber banner. So Annie surviving at 1% from that AoE from Gintoki. 400 hit points. Does Moondoggy have any weapons to potentially finish that off? I mean, I guess Lucretia could come forward and Heaven's Sanction for a free kill on this Annie. Moondoggy does have the turn priority here. Another option for him is just to get this Gintoki back to safety. Because Annie could fireball him, although at 400 hit points, with her weapon skills nullified, she has no buffs whatsoever. It would just be a fireball into an injured Gintoki. No, he's going to go for the kill play instead. So, pulling Lucretia forwards. Not even going for the AoE kill. He's going for the single target kill on Gintoki. He gets it, thanks to the Firebrand snipers. Remember in Game 1, those Firebrand snipers let him down, and Gintoki survived with like 50 hit points. This time, the Gintoki is toast. I still think SCL has Gintoki as an option in his mind. But I don't know. 1400 int, no buffs. Fireball. Can she even reach? Maybe she can't reach. Another straight trade between that Epsilon and Lucretia. These are some wild straight trades. SCL just counter-killed 2 of his own units. Yeah, this Gintoki running back to safety, I think that's a smart play from Moon. Gintoki is going to be relied upon to carry this endgame. So making sure that he's alive and well for what's coming is going to be very important. And Venorian has done it! With the Prime subscription! Knocking Emerald Dragon off his little throne. Thanks for the sub, Venorian. We'll see if Greenwinkle has the deep pockets to re-up his sub, put himself back on the board. Thanks, Vano. Doing the best I can for all involved. Yeah, late game Gintoki is scary. I mean, one thing that SCL does have up his sleeve is that, I mean, McLean has a revive, so... And he has lots of defense and lots of attack. He's also got all this water to help him decide when to make his engagements. Moondoggy also has this stray Vance, so when he doesn't need him anymore, he can chuck him in the fog and get an act again on Gintoki. So, I mean, there's still so many factors at play here. Annie can try to stay far behind the lines, just to try to keep herself alive. Give herself an opportunity to make a long-range snipe. But Gintoki also has a fairly long-range AoE that will instantly erase her. So all the other games are already finished. Oh, Emerald Dragon is keeping the train going with a gifted sub. And it looks like a Muslera 50 is the lucky recipient, so congratulations and thanks again, Emerald Dragon. Alright, here we go. Annie making a play at Vance, just to make sure Moondoggy can't chuck him away at a time that's more important for him. I think that's a good play. She can teleport all the way back to safety. It does give her a chance to heal up a little bit, and it kind of takes the ball out of Moondoggy's court. He had that golem up his sleeve to be able to get a free act again on Gintoki whenever he wanted, and it is gone. Yo, that's right, break out those applesauce emojis, my friends. You've earned them. We even got an applesauce appearance on the stream earlier. I'm sure people heard that. Unless it was right when the stream was lagging. This is going to become another one of those chess matches, though, like we saw Game 1. We've got strong units left on either side. Strong threats. I mean, Gintoki does have to worry about this thing attacking from far away, although she loses that portal next turn, so she's going to have to throw down some new portals. If she puts a portal down, not that this is relevant, but if she puts a portal down on top of a Zeraball, does it erase the Zeraball? I know a Zeraball appearing on top of a portal erases the portal. Okay, Moondoggy creeping in. What's this sugar intake for? What's going to happen? Are we going to see Annie AoE'd to death? That's got to be the play. Doesn't quite make it to the tree for extra defenses, but yeah, Annie is just blown to smithereens. Yeah, Lord, I know for sure that Zeradaball appearing on top of Annie's portal erases the portal. Because that's one sneaky way to get rid of portals. But I don't know if the same happens in return. If you were to try to put a portal down here, if they would erase that. So now we've got a one lonesome McLean who does not currently have his revive up because he's not in water. Okay, there it is, SCL, not forgetting about that. Gonna try to make a kill on this Gintoki. Not happening. And now Moon with the combo opportunity. Alright, starting with Gin. Not enough to take the first life. 3C, easily able to take the first life there, and SCL is staring down the barrel with no revive left of a fully stacked up, shielded Epsilon. Oh! Double freeze! Moondoggy's entire team freezes! This gives SCL the chance to, well, normal attack into Gintoki is still not really an ideal thing. Double freeze, though, that is a pretty hilarious turn. If only SCL had something in his back pocket that let him take advantage of that. Unfortunately not. This one's definitely going Moondoggy now. Yeah. Alright, so here we go. Two games down. One to Moondoggy, one to SCL, and all the other games in the playoffs already finished. So this is it. This is going to be the tiebreaker. SCL, player 1. We're playing on Eye of the Desert, relatively neutral map. Definitely expect to see some sidebox changes here. Moondoggy is not going to want all those AoE units in his box for player 2. So he'll swap those out to be more of a typical looking box. Maybe, I'm not sure what his sidebox looks like, but he may have some tankier options in there to try to weather a storm. We'll see if SCL wants to make any significant changes. I think this box is pretty good as a player 1 box, though, so I would not be surprised to see no changes on his side. And then we'll be going into Game 3. Winner takes all the marbles. Winner advances to face off against Auto Run in the semifinals. Kind of a scary prize, but nonetheless. Who knows, like everyone keeps saying, maybe Auto Run falls down the stairs and then everyone else from Auto Run's piloting team all also fall down the stairs. Alright, so sure enough, okay, SCL's gonna trade out his Kyra for T-Jess, and Moondoggy sends down all the rest of the his AoE guys and brings pretty much his standard Game 1 box back up. T-Cut, I keep mentioning stuff about player 1 advantage. Our AoE box is not currently viable in player 2 at all. I wouldn't say they're not completely viable as player 2. But the main reason they have an advantage as player 1 is because you get to act first. And so many of those units are actually able to reach your opponent on turn 1, on the first action. So if you are player 1 and you get to go first, you can do a bunch of damage to your enemy's team that they can't do as player 2. Obviously, that said, if you're not in a mirror match and player 1 doesn't have an AoE team, they're not going to make a jump at you on turn 1, and you do have all those AoE units as player 2, then you do kind of reciprocally have the opportunity to jump on them. But if it's a mirror match, player 1 getting to go first does mean they can hit you first. All right, Righteous Freed has joined the chat to scream Moondoggy's name. We know how well that worked yesterday. Let's see what happens today. It's too early for the Freed curse to really be too impactful yet, unless it causes ripple effects in Pick and Ban, but let's see. SCL getting that first pick Zerida again. So Moondoggy letting SCL get Zerida every game. Moondoggy does get Gintoki out. He made great use of him in Game 2, so it's good to see. Gonna have that the rest of the team in a backpack on Gintoki's back. But SCL following a pretty normal ban line here. He doesn't want Moon to have Lightbringer as player 2, doesn't want to face Z2, doesn't want to face Sissy as a combo with this Gintoki. We may expect to see SCL ban Lucretia in the next round if he doesn't want her comboing with McLean here. McLean, again, with the potential to kind of slow him down. But so far he's got characters who aren't as susceptible to being slowed down. She can teleport, he can pull himself across water tiles. SCL could also just bring out his own McLean and overwrite tiles, so that's something. Gonna go with Sissy instead, to secure himself some healing. A little bit more sustained than he's had in the last 2 games. I think he might have felt like after that opening splash in Game 1 and Game 2 with no healer to counterbalance it, he felt like he was climbing back a little bit. Also, maybe planning on bringing out units who don't have as much self-sustain built in as his units did in the past couple games. Cobra Gaming hoping SCL wins. Freed hoping Moondoggy wins. It's nice to have fans of both sides in the stream at the same time, isn't it? Mr. Sad, auto run definitely did win already, so don't be Mr. Sad anymore. You can be Mr. Rich instead. Auto run possibly on a charge to become the first 3-time back-to-back Apex champion in global history. I'm not sure why ban Rosenseal there. SCL already has a healer out, and I'd be very surprised if he would want to play this team with 2 healers. I mean, even with Matthew coming out here, I'd be very surprised if SCL counterpicked Rosenseal just for that. I'd be very surprised. But, who knows? That's gotta be the rationale for it. It does leave SCL with a nice choice of 2 dangerous DPS here. Goes with the Epsilon. Annie would have also been a good choice because she is pretty strong against all of these physical high defense units. That said, SCL does have Lucretia out already to kind of do that job. This time we've got no tank, no healer on Moondoggy's side, so he is going to have to watch out for Lostum's stun. Is there one I should expect should be able to win on this map? I think this is a very even matchup between these 2 players. Obviously, they've each won a game. This is SCL's first chance as player 1, though. He does have a really good team. Getting that Zerida out, Lostum also very strong, Lucretia strong against this team. He's got plans for this Sissy. She's going to be the one who's not really contributing as much DPS, although her act, again, basically makes her a DPS in the sense that whoever she gives an extra action to is doing more damage. But that said, Moondoggy also has a really strong team on this side. I would say Matthew may be the slightly weaker link on this team this time. But that said, he can, as we've seen, put out a lot of damage and then hustle back to safety if he has to. So, no, this is a pretty even matchup in Game 3. We're going to be in for an exciting Game 3. Fitting that the tiebreaker is potentially going to be another close one. And yes, also fitting that we're probably running into Super Bowl time here now. We chose to watch the longest match in the round. That's fine. So we've got another AoE single target split on Lucretia. SCL brought Wizards on Lucretia again. He really likes the extra magical damage output, I guess. Especially against this team, as I was saying. Yeah, no tank on Moondoggy's side, so we've got Air Slash on this Lostum. We've got some nice AoE from Annie here, possibly to help chip in with McLean and Matthew and Gintoki's AoEs. Zerda brought her AoE again. She's going to run back, try to stay safe back here until the time comes for her to activate. We've got Gargoyles on this Epsilon for increased mobility across the pillars and such on this map. Moondoggy goes with the more traditional giant spirit figurines. But we are going to have a couple turns of setup here. I didn't even notice, this is not even a 6-star McLean. These are 1-turn tiles. That is something that I probably should have noticed in Game 1 or 2. Oh no, these are 2-turn tiles. Okay, it is 6-star. That would have been just wild for Moondoggy to not bring a 6-star McLean. Alright, that was my mistake. Oh yeah, Moon's a whale. Moon's a whale for sure. That was just Kong being wrong. In fact, if Moondoggy were here today, I'm sure that he would be subscribing to the channel as well to knock Emerald Dragon's gifted sub off the latest subscriber board there. He's both a whale and a good dude. Friend of the channel for sure. Alright, so Moondoggy slapping down that accelerated aid on Matthew. It is an accelerated aid boost this time, it's not a Tenyos. Not quite enough to jump in right now. But yeah, SCL is going to have to navigate his way around this map and find a path forward that will give him an opening at one of Moondoggy's units. I can already taste the Super Bowl snacks. Now that I'm thinking about food, I'm hoping that these guys can pick up the pace and give us a really exciting rush match. Moondoggy's Annie did bring Crystal Warlocks, so a little bit more of a defensive deterrent option on her than the fairies. Fairies good for trying for one-shots. Warlock's good for trying to reflective counter-kill someone who's attacking into her. Particularly Lost 'em. Can work on Epsilon, maybe a little bit trickier because Epsilon can bring nebulous robes. Chicken wings, oh, Avengers chicken wings sound really good right now. I don't have any here, and I have a feeling if I tried to order wings, it would be a couple hours. Tonight, ordering food? Oh yeah, it's dropping here for sure. No, I'm gonna get a nice spicy fried rice going once this stream is over. Alright, so Matthew taking advantage of that portal. I guess he is going in right now. How far can he get with that? As far as he needs. Putting a big splash on Lucretia and Lost 'em. He's going to teleport back to the portal. He can't go through the portal again. You can only use the portal once per turn. It would have been hilarious if he could teleport back here and then the portal would suck him all the way back to his team. He doesn't necessarily want that though, because he wants to be up here in a good position to be able to launch the second Skybreaker drop. Rice and beans, shrooms and meat. Yeah, cucumber, that sounds closer to what I'm going to be having, although I'm seriously tempted to try my wing, guys! I wonder how long I'd have to wait for wings. Okay, Matthew stunned, Matthew dead. Lost 'em, did his job. Alright, so Matthew puts out some damage, and there's that interaction, Lord, that we were just talking about at the end of last match. So because Lost 'em was able to kill someone on that Annie portal, it has transmutated into a Zeraball. Portal gone. Portal gone. So that is actually double utility for SCL with that Lost 'em taking a portal and killing Matthew. Matthew has essentially traded himself and a portal away for a little bit of damage on Lucretia. Lost 'em has already cleared the debuffs and everything. Oh, and that's enough for Moondoggy to throw in the towel right away! Oh, I hope he didn't hear me talking about how I hoped it was a fast match. I hope Saint-Jacques isn't in the chat right now thinking, you know what? Let's chuck this in for the sake of Kong and his wings. But that really was kind of a big hole to climb back out of, is, you know, losing an entire unit and the rest of your team all being kind of stuck in the back lines. So SCL claims the win there off a pretty nice tactical move with that Lost 'em. Arguably a mistake with Moondoggy's Matthew going in and leaving himself open that early. That is going to be it. A fairly quick game 3. And what we have on the left side now, Up Appa has defeated Newbie. Nice has defeated the little tank mouse, meaning we are going to get a full 7th Heaven matchup in the semifinals. Guildmates fighting each other for a spot in the finals. That's going to be a dramatic match. I wonder if they're going to play it out. On the right side, we have SCL, the winner of the match we just watched, versus Autorun, two of the strongest global players in recent memory, and they're going to be going head-to-head in the semifinals as well. I don't think anyone would be surprised to see, you know, if SCL were on this side of the bracket, to see a finals between SCL and Autorun. So that's going to be a very dramatic match to watch on Saturday as well. I believe I'm going to be traveling next weekend, but I will bring my laptop and my mic at least, so if I find a quiet corner, I'll try to cast one or both of these matches on Saturday. I think they're both interesting. Like, these are both really good players to watch, but there's so much drama in watching guildmates play against each other. You'll have to let me know in the chat or in the comments on the VOD of this stream which match you'd rather watch next weekend, and that'll be the one we focus on. But I was not kidding when I said I am hungry. So rather than go back and watch any replays of these matches now, I am going to go eat my fried rice and possibly order some wings to go with it. And then, yeah, I guess I'll watch the Super Bowl and maybe get caught up on some Endless Voyage while that's on. So thank you, all my friends, for showing up in droves and supporting the stream and checking out these interesting games together. Thank you to all the various subscribers tonight. It was a pretty good train we had going. And there'll be chance for more unseating of Muslera. Actually, you know, it's always a sneaky opportunity to get a sub in when the stream's not live. That way, Green Winkle's not going to be there to see it right away. But we'll catch up with you all next weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. If you're not watching, enjoy the rest of your life. And I'll catch you next time. Happy Langrissing, folks.